That post was Stop Lying to Yourself, Why 99% of Men Are Mentally Weak in 2025. And well, it covered a bunch of things, but I asked some questions down below the post, and I'll read the first 9 questions and what people were answering if they're interesting, but I'll have something to say myself. So the questions were, how many hours did you waste last week on shit that doesn't matter? And then I asked people to break it down, whether it was social media, gaming, pointless YouTube, etc., and get real where your life is going. And then 2 was, what's the most pathetic excuse you've told yourself this month for why you're not where you want to be? And then I asked people, who are brave enough to share. These also work for the chat right now that we're in, if anybody wants to share as I'm reading through these after I'm done. Number 3 was, what was the last time you went 24 hours without digital dopamine? And what are you really running from? And then number 4 is, what negative thought pattern is keeping you in chains right now? What's the price you've paid for letting it control you? And number 5 was, who here has the balls to admit that they're living way below their potential? What's the real reason you're settling? And 6 is, what's one area of your life where you know you're being mentally weak? What's stopping you from changing it right now? Another one was, how many of you have a morning routine that programs weakness instead of strength? Let's break down your first hour. And number 8 was, what comfort addiction is secretly destroying your future? Is it gaming, porn, endless scrolling? Let's hear some of that brutal truth. And finally, the last one was, what was the last time you actually pushed yourself to mental failure? Not physical, mental. What are you avoiding? And number 10 actually was, what's one thought that keeps you up at night? The one you're too afraid to confront. But one of the points that I was trying to make, like poignant in this, was mental programming and what it really means to mental program. So like what we were reading in psycho-cybernetics, guys, like your brain doesn't know, your subconscious doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So when you're thinking of scenarios or you're remembering past painful memories, you're activating the very same feelings that you would. So you can imagine yourself, scare the shit out of yourself. You can imagine yourself winning. You can imagine yourself succeeding. You could imagine yourself building a business. You could imagine yourself working out and getting fit. You can give yourself essentially dopamine. You could put yourself in flight or fight simply through thoughts, perception of what reality could be. This is why it's super important when we discussed it a little bit yesterday, but a lot of guys make this mistake of, instead of placing themselves in this emotionally charged imaginary land in your mind when you're making your goals, you instead dull yourself by making checklists of what you want to achieve. So when I talk to a lot of guys, especially on the consults, they'll say, I'll ask them like, what's your goals? Where do you see your life being in 5 years? And immediately the default response for like 99% of guys is like, well, I'd like to be fit, and, I'd like to get my act together with diet, and I'd like to be making like $6,000 a month, and they give me the checklist version of their life. But not many people will actually spell out their life like as if they're really living it. Like, have you mentally imagined your future self living an ordinary day in that life? So what I tell guys is like, bro, the moment you wake up, like when your eyes open, what do you see in this future of yours? Is there a chandelier above your head? Is there a cheap light? Is there dilapidated paint? Are you in some fucking crazy king-size bed? Do you have a huge master bedroom? Are you stuck up in some studio apartment? Like, what do you see your idealized version of yourself 5 years from now? Spell it out for me in detail, right? Get super imaginative. I want to see, what do you do when you get out of bed? What does your bathroom look like? What's your morning routine? Do you brush your teeth? Do you lace up your shoes? Do you go for a run? What's it like? Are you breathing step by step? What's the neighborhood you're running in? What does that sidewalk look like? Is it perfectly manicured? Are there $1 million houses around you? Like, that's the level of detail that you have to imagine this stuff in order for the subconscious mind to begin like paving a path for you. Your subconscious paves a path for which you will be on autopilot, walking every step of the way on. That's what you guys have to understand about this. This is the programming part of this, because you have to keep doing this day in and day out. This is the point of the whole like I guess you could call it affirmation or writing down your thoughts, journaling or meditating. It's really visualization techniques. It's techniques to constantly bring your brain back towards that vision to get more of that energy, the emotional charge that you need to spring you into action. That's what all of this is about. If you don't have an imagination, it's very hard to get anything done in the world today. How could you possibly be motivated to do anything if you have such a unmotivated outlook on things? Like, and then forget about getting people on your side to be motivated about your plans. Like some guys get deflated when they share to their closest confidants, the people they trust, their brothers, whatever, family, about the grand goals that they have. They don't even sound passionate about the goals that they have. They're just checklisting shit. And then they get deflated when, they sound so unmotivated. And then the people around them don't motivate them and build them up and give them that spark of passion to act. It's like, how could you get people excited about your goals when you don't seem excited about your goals? And you're not excited about your goals because you've never actually visualized what a day-to-day in your new life would look like, your idealized self. How could you be excited at a checklist, dude? We're not going shopping at fucking Kroger at Walmart. We're not just going like, yeah, meat, eggs, chicken, cheese, veggies. And it's like you talk to yourself like that in your own mind about your future. It's not a surprise you cannot get up every single day and push through obstacles when they come up, through difficulties, through the hard times, because there's never a perfect time to start. That's another fatal mistake guys make. They think there is a perfect time to begin. There isn't. The perfect time to begin is literally right now. Time is the only thing you cannot get back. To have the perfect environment for which you need to sprout into a beautiful little flower is bullshit. You're either growing or you're going backwards. There's no staying the same. Staying the same is stagnating. Stagnating is bad. Going backwards is bad. Going forward is good. That's how you have to see this. Every day you lose is a day you don't get back. So you have to push yourself. But if you don't get emotionally charged about anything, it's damn near impossible. You need to channel that inner boy you had when you could pretend the stick was a gun, where you could pretend there's an invisible jail, where you could pretend you were in a rocket ship, where you were pretending so much, and through adulthood, it got beaten out of you. That imagination is what's going to save you in the world today. You need it for creativity. You need it for motivation, for discipline. It's hard to get up every day, bro, when the goal in front of you isn't clear, when you don't know the exact path you're supposed to walk. How are you going to self-motivate to go to the gym, for example, if you can't vividly see yourself as like your jacked, six-pack, Goku-looking self of you, right? Like the fat guy that's able to go to the gym every single day, when they look in the mirror, they have a form of dysmorphia. They look in the mirror and they see the version of themselves that has lost all the weight, that has fucking huge biceps, abs, all that shit, and it gives them emotionally charged, and that's why they're able to go to the gym. They visualize the moments that they were made fun of, that they were called obese, fat, disgusting fucks, and they play those moments in their head over and over again. They take themselves back to the painful moments. Then they take themselves into the imaginary future where it feels good. Those emotions is what drives them to constantly show up. Although they feel like shit, although they barely slept, although they're tired from work. And those are the ones that actually change and make a difference in their lives. But that tenet, that tool, you need to apply to all aspects of your life, not just going to the gym and losing weight. That tool can be applied to work, to starting a business, to getting a relationship, to changing yourself completely, how you see yourself. That's what it starts with, programming your mind to see into the future. Because if you cannot see into the future, you cannot take active steps toward that vision.